All right, hey, what's up, YouTube? We are back. Welcome back to Play It Painting Live. Yeah, we went back to sleep. Okay, so we're good, I think. We'll see. Give me enough time to kind of reload here. Had a little bit of snack. Corey's looking to hop on here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Hold on. So yeah, stuff like this is gonna happen. And Corey should be hopping on. All right. Anyway, here we are back to airbrushing. And so now there's only two other items that I need to airbrush here. The pants, and then I'm going to do a little airbrush. Well, actually, the blades look pretty good, but I'm going to give them a cleaner airbrush job anyway. So let's go ahead and get going with the pants. So I'm going to do kind of like muted tones. These are dog people anyways, and I think dogs are colorblind, right? So I don't think they would be wearing intense colored clothing. I may go with this this olive green for some pants. What else do I have here for colors? Whoa, man. And that sounds Corey crashing into the party. What's up, Corey?
Hey, you invited me to restart my computer. I'm not getting any video from here.
Okay, that's cool. Let's see.
Such an old computer.
Okay, so it looks like I'm going to be doing this camo green. I can probably find a boring snot green or a boring green, something like that. Here, yeah, boring green from Minotaur. It's a good one. So, yeah. And then pick another kind of a muddy, muted color for the other pair of pants. There's a nice, like a cracked brown. Not quite the level of boring I want. Desolated Beach is pretty boring. There you go. So, alright. So let's spray some pants. So yeah, I'm doing some airbrushing, Corey, so this is gonna be a little, we're in for kind of a noisier episode until I finish these parts, so.
Okay. I'm gonna restart this computer and then I'll be back on.
Alright, no worries.
Alright, I'll be right back.
Alright, so if you're just rejoining us, welcome back to Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. See if David or any of the other couple of viewers are back. Alright. Let's open up Q&A. There we go. Okay, so let's go with this olive. I don't think I've ever airbrushed with this color before. Let's see how it goes. Sometimes you have to be careful about really intense colors like these because, yeah, that's why. Because they may have a unreasonably higher gloss, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to get mixed up in that. This one does seem kind of high. I'm a little wary. I'm going to go with boring green because I want to get these done quick, and safe is the name of the game when you're going quick. There we go. All right. So now we're gonna hit it with a little green panthus. Kind of really does circle, right? Circle Ouroboros or whatever. I'm not a Worm and Hordes guy, but it's about right. Green pantalones. There we go. There we go. Okay. Pretty good. Anybody else want green pantalones? Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna do that. I'm just gonna waste a little the rest of this green on this, the tabard on this cat. That's all she wrote. Okay, cool. So the green's down. Let's do this boring, desolated beach. Oh, still a little bit of green here to clear out. There we go. And the front tabard as well. Cool. Okay. All right. A little bit of alcohol. Just run that through. Sorry, I mean, people just started to log in to watch. So, there you go. Good. I should be wearing gloves tonight, but I don't feel like it. I just don't feel like it. I'm too lazy. Because I keep shooting at my hands. I don't feel like doing that. Anyway. Good, and clear that out. Good. Alright. So now we go to Desolated Beach. Go ahead and take care of this. This should only take maybe even just a couple of squirts. There we go. I don't think dog people are going to necessarily be wearing really fancy pants. There we go. All right. Good. Pretty good, actually. I'm going to use some of this Desolated Beach on the base. Give the stone a bit of a color to it. There we go. And that worked out. Okay, so now we're going to do the weapons. So just the little blades, and that's it. And then we can actually start to paint these guys. So let's go with the weapons. I'm going to give them a very light black coat here. So as just at the pretty much the very bottom of the blade, you have to do much else. And then you just kind of step it up with your there we go. Yeah, and then you just kind of step it up with the grays and form a gradient color, and you're good to go. Hey Octave, I should be painting, but my current project is on hold, waiting for Warboss Tay's painting challenge. What's up, Tori? Welcome back to the show. Yeah, I'm going to be taking part of that too. I think my project for that is going to be Super Dungeon Explorer Forgotten King is what I plan on working on. Looks like this shoulder pad too. I could probably give that kind of an iron look. Let's do that. And let's give the tail fur and the kind of this gray black color on the tail fur, and the top fur. Is that called the mane, I guess? Sure. Is that kind of a black there. So this guy's starting to look a little more like a hyena, which is kind of cool. All right, let's work on this guy. Same deal. Just kind of black in these areas. There we go. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? These little knee pads right there. There we go. And let's do this. Oh, I also have the... He has kind of like a Celtic looking belt on too. But I'll fix that. Okay. There we go. And here. So there is a slight variation in color between these two, but they're gonna look pretty similar for the most part. There you go. Rawr. And okay, so now we just step up the grays on these to give it that kind of metallic look, that non-metallic metal look, I should say. And then we're going to be in pretty good shape. Pretty good shape for painting. Yeah? Yes, yes. I kind of want to do, actually, you know what, I should do the belt too. Yeah. You can do that when you're down at a needle like this. And then you got reasonable control. Should be good to do stuff like this. There we go. You can see his belt. It's got the color. Let's do his. Once again, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. We're working on some parallax miniatures tonight. These guys are called canids. I'm waiting on the order for tableware. I ordered some trays and washes for the challenge. I also have a few more items to obtain. Cool. Would you buy secret weapon washes? So you ordered from our friend Doug over at Tableware. Awesome. I'm sure Doug appreciates your patronage. All right. There. Looking pretty good. Okay. Now we're going to turn it up a little bit by adding... Oh, I still have a lot of black left over here, so let's do this. This is another trick, especially if you're working with a really big model like this and you want to do non-metallic metal. Just shoot into the deepest crevices with the black. You can fix it later with all your grays and stuff. You'll step that up, and it should look pretty good actually. I'm gonna do a little here. So knowing where to put your intense shades is somewhat important. Yeah, and then when you start hitting this with grays and stuff, it's gonna look pretty good. But this guy's for another night. He's just the backup for this particular project. Still have lots of black, so let's keep going. One more here. To do a little detail on the axes. This guy's axis. There we go. And then one final thing is I'm going to do the blade on this Hodgin. Might as well. long as you got the color in the gun. Changing out colors is annoying on airbrush, so having more areas to hit models and shoot more color out of your gun, better. Okay. Sweet. Still got lots of black, man. I don't really think there's even going to be on this guy. Yeah. Be like no black on this guy, so never mind. All right, so now I'm gonna start breaking out the grays while I continue to blow out some of this black. Once again, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let's start your painting what you should be painting. Hello, welcome back, David. Thank you for rejoining us. All right, so now I'm going to need a couple of grays. I could go with base gray. That's a little too dark. I need a more of a medium gray. Or the other thing you can do is you can just skip ahead. So I'm going to skip ahead, actually. I'm going to go to this pale gray. This is going to give me a little more of what I'm looking for in terms of just getting a gradient on the NMM. So this is kind of an expedited version. Normally, if you're doing like NMM on with an airbrush, you'd use several colors, like at least 4, but more likely 7, 8 colors. But we're gonna go a little faster. Okay, so just using some of this to. Welcome back, Corey.
Hey, it seems to be working now, of course.
Cool.
Old computer.
Okay, so looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do really is this is just going to transition up towards white. Then I'm going to put the airbrush down, and we're going to paint this bad boy. Pretty good. All right. Let's just, for the sake of showing you what we're doing with non-metallic metal, really just transition from the gray to the white. So you can see it there. Here's another kind of example. Filling it in. Then we'll come back in and do a little more precision work on this axe. But you get the gist of it. We're just leaving the black in the recessed area. And then we're just about ready to come in with a white or a near white. Okay. And then once that's down, let's go ahead and paint this bad boy. Are these dog people, I guess? Wow, that was kind of a powdery gray. There we go.
So we started.
What are you working on? Corey, I can see a couple of Relic Knights minis there.
Oh yeah.
So Codifier Bray and Fiametta.
Yep.
Cool. Those are fun models.
Oh yeah.
I may go back and pick up the metal Fiametta, even though she's really, really, really super fiddly. I like that
really?
sculpt. Yeah, it's just you kind of don't want to transport it anywhere because it's so fiddly.
Oh.
She has like the way she's modeled the metal one. her hair wraps all the way around her body a couple of times, and it's just really thin. The bits are really thin. The staff is really thin, and she comes in like 100 pieces. So I think they probably just gave up trying to recast that same thing in plastic and just re-sculpted her and made her bigger. It was almost like, and they're almost angry about it.
Seems like it, because it's a big model.
All right, so here we go. Okay, so now I'm just gonna skip to white because again we're doing this super fast, so I don't. I'm just gonna rely on a couple things to bail me out here. One, just the ability to slowly build color using the airbrush is one advantage, and then two, I am gonna come back and if it's too rough, I can use glazes to bail me out here. So anyway. So I'm just going to drop that white just along the edge there. Okay, and then put there. There we go. That's it. That's all you really want to do with the white. And shoulder spike here, good, and finally this shoulder spike. This is where having a really nice, comfy trigger handy. So that's part of what, when you buy the nicer airbrushes, what you get, like the Harder Steenbeck trigger, is much easier, much more comfortable to control when you're trying to do precision work than this guy here. And this is a 0 point, like the cheapy airbrushes. But airbrush, as long as the airbrush is working, you can technically do everything with the cheap airbrush that you can do with the expensive one. Here we go. All right. Okay, so I'm going to do a final rinse through here. We're going to put this airbrush down, and we're going to start actually painting these. Right? Colors are blocked. Some people would just stop and go, okay, good enough. And why not? I mean, it's a tabletop standard. You could technically stop right there and say, I'm done. I don't need to paint the model anymore. And yeah, and I would look at that and go, okay, yeah, that's tabletop. You know, you never took a brush to it, but you know what? So what? There's not the first model that I didn't take a brush to. Like, here's one that I didn't. Oh, I took a brush to do the lightning, but there's a Diamondback, and that's all airbrush. There's absolutely no, other than the little lightning on the blade. I did not take a brush to that model. So I mean, yeah, you go until you're happy with the effect that you've got, and then you can stop. Now with that back, I could go back, I could do line highlighting, and yeah, it would look better, but at the time when I was painting that stuff, I was moving through it pretty quick. So anyway, I'm missing a bunch of comments here. Hold on. Okay. Dude. Okay. Well, I think I have the comments. Okay, let me load YouTube comments real quick. Any comments from the YouTube side? No comments on YouTube side, which is fine. All right. so almost done. Sorry about the noise. I swear we're just about done. Sometimes those whites are really powdery. And you gotta just, you really want to clean out your gun to make sure you don't have those, like, they're almost like grit in there. Yeah, I can physically see the particles. You don't want that in your gun because next time you go spray, you'll end up on your model. That sucks. So.
So how was your experience with Wrath of Kings?
Wrath of Kings. Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that in a minute here.
Okay, good. I'm excited for that one.
What's that?
I'm excited for that.
Okay. Do you want to tell us, while I'm doing this, do you want to tell us what events and so forth we have coming up here locally?
Yeah, so we are doing an event at WonderCon. I believe that we're just doing some demos, if I'm correct. I believe there's also a tournament for SDE.
Well, for WonderCon, yes. Originally, there was supposed to be a tournament for SDE. We submitted for it late, so it didn't show up in the schedule. So I don't know for sure if that's going to happen, because if there's no way for people to sign up for it, then there's really no reason for us to do that. But yeah, you're right. We are going to be at WonderCon, and we're going to be running SDE Relic Knights karate fight, as you do. Yeah. So we got that coming up. But this Sunday we have Geek Meet, which is a really cool thing. If you haven't checked it out yet, and you're in the Orange County area, I strongly, strongly recommend checking it out. Especially if you're a fan of comic books, sci-fi, typical nerd culture. This is at the Slide Bar in Fullerton. And during the day, they're going to have gaming, video gaming, tabletop gaming. We'll be there running SDE and karate fight. I don't know what else we might be running. But we'll be there until 8. And then after 8, it just becomes kind of a bar scene, which is kind of cool. They'll have nerd speed dating, trivia. So it's a really cool event. It's a social event. And yeah, I highly recommend going, especially, if you like hitting on people in cosplay and getting hit on by people in cosplay. It's a fun thing. So,
maybe Scully again.
See, I don't know. Yeah, we got it. Do you want to tell the Scully story for the benefit of our viewing audience here? Because it's pretty entertaining.
So we found a match for Jose.
We were I don't know if Jose's watching, but it's funny.
It's still funny, but we were running. I was doing I think it was after a couple demos in of SDE. We had a lady come up to us, and we had no idea what she was dressed up as. And then she pulled out some handcuffs and a badge and said that she was Scully from the X-Files. So that was interesting. And then we're playing SDE, and decides that I want to kill Jose pretty quickly, and she didn't want that to happen. So she kept rooting for Jose not to die, and it just turned out to be the greatest thing ever. Because I did kill Jose, but she was not happy about it, so it was kind of funny.
Yeah, she got kind of protective of Jose, which we thought was
she was really upset that I tried to kill Jose.
Somewhat adorable.
It was.
Yeah, it was somewhat endearing, and we wanted, me and Corey wanted more to happen there.
Yeah.
So
it was a magical night, very magical.
But yeah, that's a cool story, and it's cool nowadays to see that nerd culture, you can you can be more social about it. It's more socially acceptable. So, to get a bunch of people in cosplay to a bar in downtown Fullerton and then have them speed date. Like, I would have never imagined that when I was in college. Like, when I was in college, we played 40K, and like, nobody ever heard what that was, and everybody was embarrassed to say they liked comic books or D&D or whatever, even though we all did, which is interesting. Like, we all, like, the Gen Xers, my generation. I'm being old man here. But yeah, we all like that stuff. There were a lot more of us that did it. We just didn't realize that there were more of us around than we thought. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the internet was a very brand new thing, and there wasn't this big social media presence on the internet. And when social media got big, it's natural that the most frequent users are going to be computer people, which tend to be a little on the nerdy side, and so that's part of what helped nerd culture kind of emerge. And I want to say this is really only kind of exploded in the last 5 to 7 years. So, but yeah.
Yeah. But it was a good time. I expanded my horizons on alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, we got you to stop drinking the Silver Bullet, right? You tried something a little different.
I did.
What did you have?
It was the peanut butter beer.
Oh yeah, peanut butter stout, which is
Yeah.
I love peanut butter stout. It's fantastic for you beer drinkers there. I'm not a frequent beer drinker, but I do like the crafty beers. I do like the specialty stuff, and I particularly like the dark stuff. So peanut butter porter, right up my alley. And yeah, so I guess I did I have to pressure you to try it, or were you okay just like you
I was
just wanted
probably
to
just
take a
like,
shot?
let's try this, because everyone was like, you need to stop drinking that tea water, that water beer.
The Coors Light.
Yeah. And I was like, but it's
People
all
get
I
kind of snobby. Yeah. Yeah,
but,
people get kind of snobby about beer. It's true.
I know, and I'm just like, man, it's cheap, and I won't die. I'm okay.
I try not to be one of those people, but let's just face it, I get snobby about shit. It's true. I get snobby about lots of stuff, miniatures and like cigars, shit like that. I get real snobby about it. Not proud of this, just I don't know. I guess I just kind of realized that about myself. But yeah, and even though I'm not a frequent beer drinker, I can get I like what I like. At the same time, though, I'll drink like your Corona or Dos Equis or whatever those types of beers, and people will scoff at that and say, "Oh well, I'm a beer snob, and that's not good beer." And I'm like, you know what? Who cares? This is what I want to drink,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Corey can have his Silver Bullet, and I can have that, and everybody needs to just chill. Says the guy that forced Corey to drink peanut butter stuff. But yeah. But yeah, bottom line is Geek Meet is fun. It's once a month in Orange County, and you should really, if you're out here, I really strongly recommend that you come check it out, play some games with me and Corey, meet some girls with handcuffs. I mean, there's really, for a single dude, you can't really knock that.
There was a whole bunch of dudes, and it was just like 2 chicks at this thing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, they're gonna do a speed dating. There's like 3 women, and then there's like 30 dudes like lined up, like they're gonna find their match. They're gonna find their match tonight.
Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, no, the chances are, because the dudes so outnumber the chicks, it's a sausage fest.
Yeah, it is.
It's not high odds that you're gonna leave there with a chick. Although we saw it happen. We saw Jose. He should have left with a chick. We were gonna like turn around and leave him there, but we didn't because he he wasn't feeling well. But yeah, I mean, it can happen. It's just you don't want to expect that to happen, but it's cool that that's on the table, And when you're going out to game or whatever, you want to play video games or you want to do cosplay, and you want to have a beer, the fact that that's even a remote possibility is pretty cool. So, yeah, that's.
I believe they had a comedian
that's Geek
as well.
Meet. What's that?
They had a comedian as well.
Yeah, they had a couple, but one of them came over and talked to us about Super Dungeon Explorer, and then went up and did his set.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The like a skinny guy. He played like 2 turns with me, and then he's like, I gotta go do my set, and then he immediately went on stage. So
okay.
That was cool.
Oh, I think I remember that. Then never mind.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? That might have been happening during the Scully episode. So, because I missed the early part of the Scully episode, I was running another game. So that might have been. Yeah. Let's see. Enjoy a good wheat beer like Sam Adams Summer Ale. Yes, I love Sam Adams beer. I'm not embarrassed to admit that. When I was single, that's all I had in my fridge was Sam Adams beer. And my wife does not like Sam Adams, but when we were dating, she pretended to like it. But what was interesting was, I was a single guy, and I always had Sam Adams beer in my fridge. And yes, the summer ale is nice. Even their all of their seasonal stuff I really liked. In addition to just Sam Adams. But so one of my friends comes over one day. This is after my wife and I started to date, and she's at my house, and she opens my fridge, and she sees Michelob Ultra in my fridge, and she's like, "You had a girl here," which is kind of funny because Mickey Ultra is girl beer. There's really no arguing that. That's girl beer. I don't care. Call me a misogynist, a sexist, whatever. It's girl beer. That's what that is. Sorry. So so that's what she used to drink. I used to drink Sam Adams, and now we just don't do much of that because we have a kid now and we're old people and whatnot. So, but Corey, you can still do that.
Oh yay!
Yay! You're free. Do you have beer in your fridge right now?
Well, I wouldn't call it beer, but yes.
Oh, so you have Coors Light in your fridge right now?
I have Coors Light along with Sunrise Apple Ale.
Okay. That's
and
not
some
bad.
Fireball.
Fireball. Okay, that's cool. Okay. I forgot to tell you what I'm doing, so I'm just painting in the teeth. Jeez. We're not even paying attention tonight. I'm just painting. Painting in teeth and claws and that kind of stuff. And let's paint in the eyes. I'm not a beer or wine drinker. Horrible past. Am I weird? No.
No.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not even... for the most part, I wouldn't even classify myself as a drinker. I just don't. I do drink, but I'm not. I don't know.
I've had some bad experiences. So
yeah.
I've slowed down a lot. Just I had some bad experiences a while ago, so I kind of stopped and was like, what am I doing with my life? So every once in a while I have one if I go out, but yeah, bad times kind of changed that mindset of I don't need to drink all the time. So
yeah. I think Kingdom Con is a little bit of a different story because you're just kind of an alcoholic for that weekend.
Yeah, no, see, it's all bets are off.
Yeah.
Kingdom Con. And if you see me, please help me to my room. That's all I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, Kingdom Con does kind of encourage the drinker in all of us. I was gonna say what I really drink though. you know, for enjoyment, what I really drink is I'm a sake drinker. That's me. That's what I really like drinking. If we are gonna have a drink, if I'm gonna have a drink with people, that's what I do. And and I can get pretty picky about what sakes that I like, too. So, really cool kind of a side story. Jesse, who owns SoCal Game and Comics, is kind of in a partnership with a local sake brewer, and they're looking to open up a sake brewery here in Southern California. It's called Setting Sun Sake, and they do have a Facebook page. You can head over there and like it. But I've been watching this pretty closely because, like I said, I am such a fan, and so Jesse has promised to get me some samples of their brews. So looking forward to that. So I know we're supposed to be talking about Wrath of Kings, but
well, hey,
got
you
on
know,
the subject of
sometimes has to come first.
yeah, sometimes you just talk about alcohol and whatever. Yeah. So so let me do the eyes on these real quick, Corey, and then I swear we'll get over to Wrath of Kings.
That's fine.
Because that is tonight's topic. But we'll talk about whatever you want, guys. I mean, you can ask us about beer or sake or anything else on the comments, or you can comment on the. Oh, for sure. But the thing,
Cool.
the only issue there is I'm only there for the day, so I can have a little, but I'm
like
not going to be finishing.
Get drunk during the day and then drive home at night.
Yeah, or you know, if it gets bad, I'm just gonna have to. I'm just gonna have to crash somewhere.
That's fine. I have a room, and
you have a room.
You a spot in it if you need one.
Are you sure? I snore.
Well, I'm probably gonna be passed out drunk anyway, so I don't know what to worry about.
The bad news about me is if you're gonna room, and I don't room with people during cons because a couple of reasons, but one of the downsides is I snore. But the upside is I'm up at the crack of dawn, so you won't see me when you wake up. I'll be dressed and probably already out running games. Because I'm crazy like that. That's what I like to do. Alright, anyways, welcome to Play It Painted Live. If you are just joining the show, let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. You can leave comments for us on this YouTube feed, or you can leave it on the Google Plus Hangout, like Tori and David are doing, or you can tweet me at Play It Painted on Twitter. What is Wrath of Kings? I will get to that in just a moment here, Tori. As soon as I'm done painting in some eyeballs on these. Are these called Canids or Kyad or I forget. I forget what these are called.
You know, and I should remember this because I play a lot. Well, I haven't played a lot, but I've played a couple times, and I feel like I should remember.
All right.
I think it's a psychic kite. I don't remember. I'm just gonna screw it up too.
Okay, so all right, done with the phase. Let's go ahead and mount these on our stands, and now I can actually concentrate a little bit more on the talking. So let's do this. All right. So yeah, tonight's topic is Wrath of Kings. This is a new game from Cool Mini or Not that was launched on surprise Kickstarter. We recently received our Kickstarters for this game. I had pledged for the Ancient King, which is the 5 starters. And for the past couple of weeks, I've been painting sets of it, and we finally tried our first game of this last night at Comic Quest. So, Do you want to? Do you? Well, let me ask you this, Corey. What do you currently know about Wrath of Kings that you can share with us?
So it's I would say it's not really a full scale like army sized game or a skirmish game because I feel like it's about the size of War Machine or Hordes, whichever one you prefer.
Yeah.
It seems to be about that size and miniature scale, and it has units, from what I understand, just about the same way as War Machine does. However, it uses a D10 system.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm correct, it looks like there's deployment zones that units deploy within. Um, and instead of killing, like, I'm sure that I believe from what I understand, the entire game is still killing everything, but there's no way to like cast or
Yeah.
kill something. You basically lose like some kind of like willpower that you lose for like I believe it's every 1 to 3 models. Every 3 models you lose, I believe you lose a point.
Yeah, you lose morale. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you lose morale, and then once you get to 0, you basically lose the game. Um, I don't really know if there's missions in this, but from what I
Yeah,
understand,
I'll get into that. Mm-hmm.
okay, so D10 system, and you roll on a chart for the character, and basically it'll tell you what happens if you miss or you hit whatever it does. It'll tell you based on the card. So it's not like I need a
Right.
7 to hit you. It's I rolled this, and this is what happens in response.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Cool. Yeah, that's
and the
that's
models, I
actually a
think the
pretty good
models are
description.
great.
And you know, Corey hasn't played a game yet, but that's
I've been browsing
fairly
the
good.
YouTube a lot. For this game.
You've been watching the YouTubes. Yeah. I mean, there's information on this game on YouTube if you want to look. The Cool Mini or Not has they have their like intro videos on it and whatnot. And yeah, it's pretty good. Like Corey says, it's a skirmish game, but the model count is similar to like War Machine Hordes. And oops, that's wrong. That's okay. So it's a skirmish game. It's a D10 system, and it's very simple. It's a very simple kind of one roll system to resolve things. Like he was saying, you roll against an opponent's damage chart, and you know that will tell you whether or not you hit. There are some abilities that allow you to change some results on the damage chart, and so there is some tactical nuance to the game. The game does not actually use squads, believe it or not. It has a looser understanding of squads, which is actually quite cool. So what the game has is it's got different types of unit types, right? So so it's got infantry style, just your basic rank and file stuff. Then it has leaders, and then it has specialists. And the way the game operates is it's alternating actions, and you can activate. Most of the time you can activate like a single model, and you do like a movement, and then you can movement, and then like a combat action, right? Like an attack. But because the way leaders work, leaders kind of have these zones of influences around them. And with a leader, you can do what is called a group activation, which is, from a simplistic standpoint, it's treating a group of models as if they were a squad. They do have to share certain characteristics with one another, but yeah, they get to act kind of like a squad, or maybe even more accurately, a little more like say a Link team in Infinity. So it's a cool mechanic, and it uses it makes you kind of consider the placement of where your leaders are, because you typically have the army commander, the overall leader, and then you'll have some sub leaders, and your placement of them and how you wish to group activate is kind of an important part of the game. It also means that like even your individual troopers can kind of run around on their own and accomplish stuff that way too. So I kind of like how their approach was there. They also use like Corey was mentioning, a morale system. And the morale system is, you start off, it's kind of the opposite of victory points. You start off with a set number of morale. You calculate that at the beginning of the game. You and your opponent have a morale. And the object of the game is to get your opponent's morale down to 0 before he gets yours down to 0. So, it's kind of like forcing your opponent to lose before you lose. And you do that by killing models. So every 3 models, like Corey said, is a morale. You lose a morale at the end of every turn, and that keeps the pacing of the game moving quite well as well. And then finally, there are no scenarios in the game, but there is a system called motivation. And motivation depends on what faction you are. And basically what motivations are they're kind of like scenarios that you select that affect your ability to to remove morale from your opponent. So, you can pick killing type motivations, which actually award you a bonus for removing models, not just, every 3 you lose 1. It would be like every 4 models you lose, for example, you're going to lose 2 morale. So there's stuff like that you play for. Not necessarily, you're not playing for like a shared objective like a lot of other games. You're not even playing for like primary, secondary faction scenario like you would in, say, Relic Knights. You're playing for, you're fighting out a battle invariably, because this is a battle game. This is a combat oriented game. So you will, so a lot of the game does revolve around walking up and punching the other guy in the face. And I know that I can be very critical of stuff like that. But I'll just tell you right now, after playing it and understanding the game for what it was, it works that way. And it does for me, it does fill a niche for being that kind of combat-heavy, larger model count skirmish game. So yeah, it's when you put all the pieces together and you run the system as a whole, then you come to find out that it's a very kind of a faster paced, kind of, somebody said it was like Warmahordes Light, and that's not an inaccurate description. That's not an inaccurate way to look at the game. It's actually kind of cool. So I kind of looked at it the same way too. That hey, you get that heavy combat feel, that large amount of troops rushing towards each other, and that skirmish level of I move a piece this way, and even like a difference of an inch or a couple of inches makes a huge difference. So it's got all those elements to it, without some of the stuff that I don't like about Warmahordes. And let's get into that for a second. For me, Warmahordes caster kill it's kind of cool, it's whatever, but I don't like that caster kill is, in some cases it ends up being a crutch, in some cases is just a way to come up and smack somebody down and quickly end a game. But the problem with caster kill isn't necessarily the rule itself, but it's kind of how the players react and build around that rule. It's just I find kind of annoying. So yeah, the other thing about Warmahordes is the cost. I know a lot of people that play Warmahordes may contend this point with me, but they tout the low cost of Warmahordes, which is true when you're comparing it to a full-scale army game such as, say, 40K or Fantasy, right? Comparing yourself to GW for price, every miniatures game out there is going to win and look good. But let's face it, Privateer Press is it's cheaper than GW, but it's more expensive than all the other games I play, and it's a big turnoff for me. And the fact that the players like to play, it used to be 25 and 35. Now it's 50, it's 75. Players are upping the game values of those games, and that's how they like to play, and that's fine. It's just that doesn't appeal to me. That's not how I want to play. The other thing about Warmahordes that kind of bogs down for me is, and Corey, I know you play Warmahordes, so you chime in whenever, is individual troopers bogging down the game. The Warmahordes gets so troop heavy with so many builds, and especially like if you're running trolls. not trolls. What are they? Yeah, they're called trolls. Yeah, trolls, right? And you have all these tough rolls, right? That really bogs a game down, and you're filling out hitboxes, and you're like, geez, like, oh my gosh, and I did this, and one person is going, the other person is basically a secretary for 35 minutes, and you're just recording hitboxes. Okay, and then you're rolling tough rolls. And I get that that's a competitive environment that a lot of people enjoy. I'm only giving my opinion here. I do not enjoy that. If I'm going to play Warlords, I want to play small points. I want to play more jacks and beasts than troops because the game flows a little bit better, and I like watching robots wrestle than like one guy hitting another guy for a half an hour and then he makes his tough roll. That's anyway. Wrath of Kings gives me a combat experience of things running at each other, hitting each other, without these things that, in my opinion, really slow down a game. So anyway, I don't know what are some of the things. I know you played Warlords for a while, Corey. What are some of the things that you feel kind of might slow down a game like that?
Well, one, I would say the model count definitely. I mean, I don't mind the model count, and I don't really mind the game at all, to be honest. At times I miss playing, other times I don't.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just the fact that it's like I get to do everything on my turn, and you get to do everything for your turn. So it's really like, you go, I wait 20 minutes, I get to go, you wait 20 minutes. I mean, that's a typical war game, though, where most like major war games are like that. You have to wait for your turn to go. I understand that.
Right, and bear in mind, we're not trying to put down Warlords. We're just
no, not at all.
We're just criticizing one aspect of it, and that is, and it's not even the game that we're really criticizing. It's the tendency to build and play towards kind of a slower, grindier style of play.
Yeah.
And and that just kind of being being a little more endemic towards a game like Warlords, and that aspect as being something that this game, I feel, kind of has some good things to address. But anyways, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, it's okay. So I mean, I don't mind the game at all. I enjoyed the game for a while. I used to play it a very long time ago, when I think it was just like the first edition, or they were working on second edition, something like that. But to me, it really, I enjoyed it with certain people. I think for you and me, it's like Infinity. Like, you and I have fun playing together, but I wouldn't go play it with just someone I don't really know, because I already know how it's going to turn out. And it's going to be someone just really competitive at it, and I don't prefer it to be competitive. So for me, I know a lot of players are really competitive at that game, and that's just not. I don't mind being competitive. It's just not my style.
Right. I mean, you're competitive when it comes to Relic Knights, but that's different. It's not like being competitive and putting together a wonky min-maxed list for Relic Knights. You're competitive in that you maneuver what you have on the field aggressively, and you try to close people out. You try to score your points.
It's a different style of playing, I guess. Whereas in Relic Knights, I can maneuver certain ways and try to stop you from achieving what you need to achieve. And there's really no set lists for anything. So that's what's great about it. Everyone's pretty much at the same exact models right now. So there's not really like, oh my gosh, you have this entire setup where you just did a whole bunch of list building. Whereas Relic Knights, kind of, everyone kind of runs the same thing. If not, maybe 1 or 2 units are off. Whereas in Horrors, it's like you could take like a different caster and be running something completely different, which is cool and all.
Sure.
But it's just more of a competitive style that I'm not really into that competitive style because it's like, oh, I'm playing
Yeah.
this guy. I'm already going to count it as a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Relic
Okay,
Knights,
so Daniel chips in.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I
Sorry.
already know I'm playing against you. I don't have a list that's built for that. So I just accept that as a loss. Or I'll be playing someone that's really competitive and it's not as fun to play. Um, like when Sean was here, him and I would have some of the best games because he would go back and forth and we would just play to have fun. Whereas when I would just show up to the store like on a night and just try to play a game, it'd be like I was trying to like I don't even know how to describe it. It'd be like I try to do something, it'd be like, no, you can't. That's not right. You can't do it like that. I'm just like, okay, I understand. Sorry. But
I think
it seems like
one of the things.
everyone was just out for the win, not a fun game. So
Okay. Yeah. I think another way to kind of look at this is, for Warmahordes is, the difference between, say, Warmahordes being we'll call it a main system, a primary system for most people. In other words, most people, not most people, but a lot of people that play Warmahordes, that's what they play. That's their game. And they play it, 80, 90% of the time. And that's cool. That's fine. And when you're just a casual player, like, say, Corey or myself, it can be hard to kind of gel with players that have selected and made Warmahordes their main game. We're not saying that their play style is wrong or our play style is wrong. It's just Warmahordes is designed, and I feel this is true of like even Infinity too, that it's more designed to be your main game. That you should be thinking about your lists, and you should be, if you're going to be playing regularly in that community, that's how they play. And if you don't enjoy the fact that the players are going to be more hardcore than you for this game, then you may not enjoy it as much. Whereas a lot of games that we play, I think they might be our favorite game, but it's a different thing to be a main game. It's a different, like my favorite game is Relic Knights, but I don't sit around and like obsess over RK. I don't sit around and build lists. I try to play it whenever we're playing or whenever we're gaming because I enjoy playing it, but we don't do stuff like that. We don't, and you can't really, like you were saying, there's not enough of that range released at this point to really kind of sink your teeth into it and treat it like your full-blown main system that you're playing.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's kind of where we're coming from. We're not trying to knock Warmahordes. It's just we have to compare Warmahordes to not Relic Knights, Wrath of Kings, because it's a good solid comparison. And I guess what we're trying to say is that Wrath of Kings, right now anyways, seems to be a lighter version of Warmahordes. It seems to encourage ending the game at with a certain pace so that it doesn't suddenly end, but it can end fairly quickly. So there's that going on. Now, one thing I noticed about the decay system, the morale and the decaying morale system, which at first I thought was kind of bad, but now that I'm thinking about it a little more, is kind of cool, is this. So to let you know, Jose and Andrew were playing a game last night, and they were going into it was an intro game, so really only going to go about 3 turns. You start with 6. I think they started with 6 morale, and so they were going into turn 3, and towards the end of turn 2, we were, I was counting up the models that each guy had killed. We weren't playing motivations. We were just playing straight up because we wanted to get the mechanics. And I think Andrew had 0. He made it down to, well, he was 1 and then going to 0 at the end of the turn. So 0 morale. And Jose was going to be at 1 morale. and I was like, okay, well, that the game could have ended during the second turn had Jose killed 2 more minis. And at the time we were looking at that and going, okay, well, they're going to go into a third turn. Andrew has a chance to basically even up the score. Then at the end of the round, it's going to be a tie. And I was like, wow, that seemed really easy to get a tie out of that. And I was worried that, that's not a very good thing about a game. It shouldn't be easy to get a tie. It was cool. It's cool that the game does, seems like the game does boil down to a critical couple of turns or a critical couple of activations. I love when games figure out how to do that and do it consistently. But in hindsight, I realized we were looking at it wrong, because even if Andrew does make it to the next turn, Jose can continue to put the pressure on because they allow your morale to go into the negative. So had the third turn finished and Jose went down to, say, 0 morale, it's not a tie because Andrew might be down to he might be at -1 morale. That is how the game ended. So yeah, that was kind of cool. I wasn't sure how that was going to work out, and then we saw it in action, and we thought that's pretty neat. So yeah, that's how the VP system works, which is really cool. I like how the defense charts are pretty straightforward. You can affect defense charts with like abilities, or even your types of attacks can ignore, because there's 3 types of defenses on the defense chart. You have like a magical block, you have a regular block, and you have a dodge. And for example, if your attacks count as magical, then you don't count the blocks, and then there's a couple of other things that change too. So yeah.
One thing, I got the
Another thing I'll point out about Wrath of Kings. I'm sorry?
I got the models that I grabbed from you this past week.
Oh, nice.
And these models are just they are wonderful.
They are really good models. Especially for what. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is gonna work.
Are you gonna show some? Okay.
They're still in the bag because I haven't had time to bust them open. I've got more stuff I need to work on than getting taken apart. But the models in this are just so detailed. And for the price, I don't know how much you're going to go for in a starter set, but it's a lot of models. And here's the cards for you too. From what I understand, here's your movement stat. I'm not sure what this middle one's for. It looks like a fire. Is that like a range?
That's your willpower.
Okay, your willpower. I'm guessing defense, and then your life that you have.
Yes.
And then you have a decent artwork picture of the character, and then down the side you have your abilities. So basically, what you're rolling against for the damage or whatever you want to call it. And then on the back, it gives you a whole bunch of abilities and what the character does basically. After that, I'm not really too sure what it does. But the artwork isn't too bad, I have to say. The cards are nice. I like games that involve cards, not rule books. You have to look at all your stuff on. But the models, they were just like, the second I opened those things up and I got the score, they're just gorgeous models. I was really surprised.
Yeah, so, I also prefer cards over codexes.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just easy. It's just easier to like throw together a list and play that way.
Yeah. Everything's running the cards. You don't really need to worry about anything.
So another thing I was going to point out about Wrath of Kings that kind of keeps the game fast is this idea that models in this game don't have a lot of wounds. Like your highest wound model is going to have 3.
Yeah.
3. But it may have high defense too. So you do have to hit it quite a few times to put it down. But I like that. I like that much better than, you know, lots and lots of hitboxes and you know, endless tough rolls and that kind of stuff. I just, you know, your stuff is gonna die. That's what I like about games like this game and Eldorado. And I like, if we're gonna play a combat game, let's play a combat game. Let's play a brutal game that can, you know, that would resolve quickly, and your stuff is gonna die, and that's cool because it's gonna keep the game moving. So yeah, I don't know. Did I? Let's see. Okay, of course with that. Okay, so Daniel's talking about Privateer Press not being cheap anymore. Now that factions each have 2 figures that are each 200 plus. I assume you're talking about Colossals and the like. So yeah.
Yeah, but these make
and then
Colossals for each faction.
Colossals are pretty cool minis, though. I do
I agree. I like it.
That Ret Colossal. I just don't like the game enough to justify buying one of those for myself and keeping one. You know.
Well, if you want a Condor one, let me know. I've got one that needs to be painted along with the circle engine. I will never use it, but it'll sit on the shelf and look good.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was our intro game to Wrath of Kings, and I gotta admit, I was overall I'm pleasantly surprised by this game. Right, full disclosure here, I backed the Kickstarter after watching the Kickstarter video, and just absolutely hating so much about this game, and a lot of that had to do with the really, really obnoxious drum roll and music and the voiceover actor. The voiceover actor nearly cost me backing this game. That's how annoying I found him. Like, I was like not gonna back this game because he had that that movie preview voice, that really kind of low, raspy, like this fall, you know, that kind of thing.
Theater near you.
But he was talking. Yeah, but he was talking about Wrath of Kings stuff. He was you'll see the darkest creatures come from Arcania, and I just thought it was so goofy and over the top and trying too hard that I was like, this game is gonna suck. Cool Mini Not at the time was not. They were not doing anything impressive. They at the time. It was like, okay, another Zombicide or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. And you know, we're gonna make games that seem like a lot of other games, but they're not really decent games. And we're gonna throw a bunch of Kickstarters out there. And I'm not saying this stuff has really changed too much, but that's where they were in my mind. And I was like, okay, this Kickstarter looks really annoying and like, I don't know, tribal armband tattoos and weightlifting pants. That's what it felt like to me. And so I wasn't interested in it. But I took a look at how many miniatures they were throwing at you for the cost, and I did a quick thing in my head, and I'm like, well, I can throw a pledge down, and I bet I can have stuff painted before most people, the people that really like the game, are going to have stuff painted, and I can actually turn around and sell some of this painted and just kind of treat it like an investment. And so that was my attitude. So I didn't care when the stuff arrived. So it arrived late, whatever. Some people were mad. And like Corey was saying, my first experience, though, was pretty impressive. I pop open the boxes, and, you know, a starter box has 30 miniatures in it. A starter box.
Yeah.
30 miniatures in a starter box. That could be good or bad, depending on, you know, in one way it's kind of bad me because I don't like doing army-size, high-level painting. I'd rather paint just a handful of models like Parallax here and paint them really cool. But on the other hand, that's incredible value. And the sculpts were great. They were awesome for what you're paying for them. and as part of the Kickstarter, you know, each of those factions is between 40 and 50 models. And I do the quick math here. I've got 5 factions for $200. That's a pretty good deal. So that breaks down once you take into account the rule books and all the extra stuff. We're in for less than $1 per fig. And I'm like, I can't walk away from a deal like that. And I was hooked on Kickstarters at the time anyway. So I went in with very low expectations, and I was pleasantly surprised by the game. Pleasantly surprised by how it performed. So yeah. And we finally played it, and I was pleasantly surprised by that. If you tell me this game on paper, it's like, oh, it's yet another run up and punch a guy in the face game. It's got the same model count as Warma Hordes, which I don't like. I don't like the higher model count. It's got, you know, it's got the grimdark theme, which is everyone does. It's got bipedal animals, so, you know, take your pick. Is it Rackham? Is it Hordes? Is it whatever? So there's a lot of stuff on paper that I did not like about this game, and I was fully skeptical about it. That said, my experiences have been above my expectations, and so I gotta admit, I am liking this game. I'm liking the idea that this can be kind of combat, tactical, yet still sort of beer and pretzel-y for us, you know. And you can scale up or down because of the one die system. When you get comfortable with the rules, the games will go pretty quick. And I love it when I can get in a lot of skirmish short period of time. So, let's see. Sorry for the ramble here. Never get into historical gaming like Napoleonics. Have hundreds of 15mm miniatures on the shelf. I love the look of Napoleonics, but yeah, you're right. I don't think I could stomach painting big, long lines of stuff like that. Sorry for hogging up the comments here, Corey. If you have, do you want to add any thoughts about your impressions of Wrath of Kings besides, what you said so far?
I mean, you know, I haven't played it yet, so I can't really say too much about the gameplay other than what I've watched online and stuff. But I feel like it kind of fits that gap that we have, because I like playing the small skirmish games, but at times I just like playing like bigger models, like bigger scale games. It's so expensive for most games, and like, I mean, I got a lot of models from you for, you know, a pretty good price. So I think it fills that gap for me, at least. Okay, here's a bigger model game, and I don't have to spend $500 just to have, you know, enough models to play a big enough game.
Yeah.
It also fills that void of just a regular game where you actually have to go and kill things. I mean, we have Eldorado and stuff, but at the same time, I hate to say it, but it's a dying game. Not everyone's playing it. And it's hard to, and people already have the stereotype of it, like that religious background, so they avoid it already. But I think for me, it filled that void of having that combat-heavy game, whereas I don't get that out of Relic Knights, because, I mean, in some games I barely interact with people unless I'm forced to interact with something. I won't interact. I won't shoot you for no reason. It might be to make you...
Relic Knights, you don't just willy-nilly throw attacks out. You have to have a very specific plan.
Unless you're playing against Cersei, then yes, you attack them every chance you get. But...
yeah, that is the plan, though, yeah.
Yeah, but that I know going into playing against Cersei, that's my goal is to shoot them and do whatever I have to every turn. But outside of that, like there's really no combat involved unless you need to do it. Whereas in this game, you need to have combat, so it fills that void of just a regular, like, I need to complete this, you need to complete this. Hopefully you do it before hopefully I can complete mine before you complete yours, which I like, because it's extremely strategic on how you can do it, because it always comes down to 1 or 2 activations, and you're either going to win or lose based on those 2 activations. Whereas in this game, it seems to me it's just you go up there and kill everything. So and it's a D10
Yeah,
system.
play aggressively.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's not the standard D6 game, so it's D10, and it's not based on numbers as far as like my 6 plus this 2 is equals 8 plus my attack of 11. I'm at a 19. What's your defense? Oh, you're an 11. So how much damage did I just do to you?
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, in
Yeah,
some
that's
math and stuff, but at the same time, I don't have to think about calculating a number. I just roll, and it says, "Oh, your 3 calculates to that's a miss."
Yeah, it's a pretty it's a real quick one and done when you roll, and especially with how few wound stuff has. We were surprised that like stuff just drops. It's just you're just gonna run up there and kill stuff.
Yeah.
And take that for what it is. If you don't like, if you want, you know, if you need the models to hang out a little bit more, if you want to see you know, more kind of a push and shove type of combat system, this is not a good one for you, because this is this is you hit and killed most likely, or you didn't hit.
Yeah.
And yeah, in theory, based on what I typically like, I'm not gonna like a game like that. But you pair that with you know, kind of a slicker, faster, lighter combat overall, with a slightly higher model count. I like that. Then yeah, you got me. I'm invested.
Well, you know me. I'm invested into every game that comes out. So.
Yeah. But yeah, the game, I was surprised at how much I liked it, and I think, you know, I don't think I'm gonna keep more than one faction because of model count, you know, and I'm gonna just stick with Shale Han, which is the Chinese, kind of a Chinese steampunk style faction that relies a lot on.
Like, so cool.
What's that?
With the dragon.
Yeah,
Not
I need to get one of those. Yeah. I regret not getting one for the Kickstarter, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna sell all of it. But now I'm thinking, I'm just gonna keep one of them, and yeah, that's what I'm looking at. See if we have any questions or anything like that. Hey, what's up, Jill? Let's see what else we got going on here. If there's any YouTube comments. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Jill? So yeah, it's okay. So these models here, these Parallax models, these could pass for Goritzy models, right? Goritzy has like werewolves and that kind of stuff. So Corey, you did some reading on this, right? Do you want to give can you give like an overview of what the factions are, or at least what they seem to be, knowing that we haven't really.
So I've really only looked into pictures. I haven't really read into a lot of it. So the one that I'm really interested in is the Goritzy, I want to say. That's how it's pronounced.
Goritzy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they're basically like the werewolf vampire kind of faction. But the models look amazing, and that's really what drew me into these guys. There's also like pig. They look like pigs.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not sure
well, real quick, the Goritzian is like, yeah, you're right. They're vampires and werewolves, and kind of undead. They're a speed-based back, from what I can tell. So they're very quick at getting across the board. Mm-hmm. So, and there are models in the Goritzy that look like this. So you have like, I don't even know what they're called, chargers or whatever, the werewolf-looking things.
There's a shield breaker, and what's the other one's called? I've got them all right here, so.
Mm-hmm.
Not that. Sword? there's a skirmisher. There's a scourge hound. Sorka skirmisher. Sorka alpha. Sorka item. I'm probably pronouncing this all wrong.
That's okay. We don't know. Yeah, we're just this is just our first impressions. We've, like I said, we only played our intro game the other day, so we're just talking about our initial understanding of the game. So yeah, Goritsi is a faction. Then you have you'd gone over to Technies, right? So Technies
Yeah,
is
they look like they're all war pigs. I'm not exactly sure.
yeah, those are the union workers for Technies.
Okay.
And kind of like the name sounds, Technies is sort of like their, I want to call it sort of like their steampunk faction, where they take, they do advancements in technology, and that's what gives them their advantage. I'm not entirely sure how that translates in game, but a lot of their aesthetic are things like pigs and gnomes and mercenaries and that sort of thing.
They look pretty cool. I'll say.
In fact, hold on. Here's my. You know what? Hold on a second, Corey.
Okay.
Just this. For the. So I'm gonna scoot this up for a minute so I can show these, and we'll move the little doggies out of the way here. So here's the Technies starter box. Let me turn this light so it's not directly on there. So here's a Technies starter box. You can see kind of like that steampunky style. This is one of the mercenaries. So they have these mercenary guys that are like armor with little, with like the steam pipes. Then you got these like gnome guys that ride chickens, and I don't know what that is. You've got this weird squid with a little like these these like little impy looking things on them as well. And then here's the pig union workers that Corey was talking about. So it's a real like industrial looking faction. And man, I want to break this open and paint it. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty badass.
Here's this one.
There's a freaking octopus with a kid on it. That's amazing. I like that. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead and show Goritsi.
So here's this one. You got the wolves and the vampire chicks, and there's the models on the back. And the models are just so detailed too. I'm really surprised. I thought it was gonna be like another one of the, I hate to say it, but another one of the Relic Knights models where the detail's not the greatest. But
yeah,
but
the Relic Knights troop models are leave a little to be desired, but the Relic Knights character models and their large stuff is fantastic. The knights are fantastic. Their characters are fantastic. Just a few troops that could probably use a little work.
Mold lines down the middle of the faces aren't the best, but that happens, I guess. And then there's it looks like fish people. I'm not exactly sure what they're called.
Hadros.
Yeah, they look like fish people.
So here's the Hadros starter box. So you can see there's like these like fish shark looking things and deep sea dwellers, the jellyfish looking strikers, and then crab people. Popular thing, right? It's the back of the box. And these are the starter boxes, by the way. These are and this is what I was saying, these are like close to 30 miniatures per box. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to retail for. I think it's somewhere between, say, $50 and $70. But that's pretty good for 30-ish minis.
For the model count, that's really good, I'd say. Let's see, this one has 4, 16. There's about 32 models in this box set.
That's cool. Let's see. Fulong Devourer. Okay, yeah, that's the big dragon thing. When is Wrath of Kings available to buy? I'm looking at House of Shalehan. I don't I honestly don't know. I mean, we don't.
Yeah,
I don't follow this closely enough to know.
I was asking
What was
around
your
too, and I
quote?
didn't get a response on Facebook. I know someone, I forget his name, but he was at WonderCon last year when you and I were over there. He was running Zombicide. Um, I
Oh,
think his name
uh,
Raymond.
Frank. Oh yeah, yeah, Ray Rappaport.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He posted a picture of Wrath of Kings, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm excited for this game. When can I buy it? I never got a response back. So honestly, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out too. Um,
Hmm.
but I'm hoping to pick up the rulebook here shortly, along with another starter box. So
You can pick up rulebooks on. I saw a rulebook on eBay for like $20
yeah, I could probably do that
today.
too. But I
For,
saw there's some that are really, like, they're really expensive, and I was like, man, this just came out. Is this what the prices are jacked up because it just came out and no one can get it?
yeah. So as far as selling, this is actually a pretty good time to trial some stuff. Um, I will advertise here since it's my show, and just let you know, I am planning on selling everything except for my Shale Han, and for things like the painted Nasir, I sell that for $200, which is not bad. Sounds like a lot, but it's 49 miniatures at $200 painted and based. That's roughly $4 a minute. So yeah, it does sound like a lot, and I know $200 is still at the end of the day still a lot of money, but you've got your painted faction ready to go. So shameless plug on myself on my own show. So do it.
I am here to promote my own business. I don't care what you
I'm here
say.
to promote my own. Yeah, play it painted. Damn it. Yeah. So I am looking for a buyer for the Nasir, and a few people have expressed interest. I don't know if they're serious about buying or not, but it's fine. In the meantime, it doesn't hurt because we can still play games of
Yeah.
that here and painted up and ready to roll. So
Well, if those fish people don't go, I'll take them from you.
okay. Well, so Nasir, right? I'm sure that's you were going to bring that up here in a minute,
Yeah, I don't know
right?
all the rest of them. I know there's some like demon looking ones, and then there's the Chinese faction, and it's got a pretty cool looking dragon. So
Yep. So here's the Nasir starter box. So the Nasir is really kind of the more Oni kind of grim, dark looking. There's like demon looking things. Most of the characters have these masks, these blood masks that are like almost like evil bunny masks. And if you want to see painted Nasir, all you got to do is look at this channel or look at our Facebook page. That's what I was working on. Here's some example painted stuff. The Ashmen. You got these Pelagarth blood masks. They're kind of bigger ladies with the pasties. But it's explained in the fluff why these chicks are not wearing remaining clothing. It's actually they have a pretty good explanation for that, which I thought was cool. So
but they're wearing
yeah, but yeah, and you talked Shale Han. So here's the Shale Han starter. So Shale Han has these like Dragon Legion guys are basic infantry. They're double wielding swords. Dragon Legion. This would be a leader or like an officer for them. And you've got the children, which are these like larger, kind of ogre-looking things. So anyway, I don't know if there's any other comments here. By the way, and I'm sorry that I'm not really explaining what I'm painting tonight, but they're almost done, to tell you the truth. I'm just inking these up. Is that your computer fan?
Yeah, it's going crazy again.
Let's see if there's any YouTube comments. Oh. Oh, come on. No new comments. Just Jill popping in to say hi. Jill, want to hear the Adepticon stories when you have a chance. I'm excited to hear your report. Kind of bummed that couldn't make it there this year. But you know, it's always next year, and we'll see. We'll see how my family situation is, if I'm cool to travel or whatnot during that time. So yeah. So anyways, that's the long and short of Wrath of Kings. It does look like a promising, fun game. Is it gonna change miniature gaming? And you know, they touted a lot of stuff. Probably not. I mean, this could be a game where folks getting out of one of the bigger games, say Privateer Press or Warhammer Fantasy, might end up playing this game, or they might play it as their lighter version of a skirmish game. I plan on playing this as kind of a more of a beer and pretzel, run up and beat up on my buddy's army type game, and I think it's going to work well for that. I think that's I think in terms of how convenient this game keeps its combat systems and the mechanics are to learn, I think it's going to do quite well.
I'm just a big fan of this.
Any comments or questions on Wrath of Kings? We're moving along here. My two little canids are just about done.
I'm just a fan of the fact that it's not a D6 system.
Yeah, you really don't like Well, were you okay? Did you not like Heldorado's D6 system, or?
Oh no, that's a different D6 system. That's completely
okay.
different.
So how is Heldorado's? Okay, can you explain how Heldorado's D6 system is different?
So the reason why, the basic game of I roll my dice, I missed, and there's no way to buy more dice. Eldorado is completely different. You know, it's not like I need to compare my stats to yours. It's I get this many dice and I need to beat your defense. And then from there, I can choose to add more dice. And if I think I need more dice, I get the option to add in more dice. It'll affect my game later on during the turn, but if I really want to do something, I can do it. And I have that choice to. Whereas in most games, it's like I get 6 dice and hopefully I get to hit you. And there's no modifiers to that based on like the distance and stuff like that, maybe. But I can't just spend my command points like in Colorado to add more dice in or get rerolls. And it's not like a set, I hit you once, you take 1 point of damage. I hit you twice, you take 2 points of damage. It's like, oh, my chart allows me to do up to like 10 points of damage. Or I can choose to do like 5 and make you stunned for 2 turns. So for me, it's completely different, and I like that about that game because it's you get basically if you hit that many times, you get the choice of how hard you want to hit this person. So I do like that, other than the fact of like I need 3s to hit. Oh, everything missed. Okay, your turn. It's like it's like I need
your turn.
I need 4s. I get 3 dice. I got like a 50-50 chance to hit you. Maybe I'll bump it up, and I will add in 2 more dice. That way, I can most likely hit you pretty good. I do like that fact.
This game does have that potential because it's a D10. You can be like, okay, I'm gonna roll 3 dice because I get these bonuses, and I saw it happen. And it's like, 3, 3, 5. I miss all 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah. I don't particularly like that, but I just understand that that's one of the trade-offs for this particular system.
Yeah. But the fact that it's like basically, everything has something kind of different. Just look at, they're giving you 2 different cards here. I've got the War Dancer and I've got the Shield Breaker. Both number 10s are hits. 9 and 8 Or I'm sorry, I don't know what the symbols mean, but let's start at the bottom. 1 and 2, it's a star.
The skull on the 10 is a crit, which causes 2 hits. So
Okay.
a crit causes 2 hits. That's the skull on the 10. Then you have the lightning bolts, which are hits.
Okay.
And then you have various dodges and other defenses below that.
Yeah.
Some models have the ability to change some of those dodges and some of those blocks into hits, and some ability in the game also allow that. So you got that too.
To me, it's a little bit different. Whereas these two different cards are completely different. So, like the Shield Breaker, you're gonna hit this guy in an 8, whereas this other person, the War Dancer, you're gonna hit her on a 6. But they both have different abilities. From 3 to 5, she's got this little arrow thing. I'm guessing that's some kind of dodge. The other guy's got a 3 to 7. It's like a circle with a line through it. I'm not, like I said, I don't know what they all mean, but it's just different. It's not like on a roll, it's something different. It looks like for each character, so it's not.
Yep.
And it's just D10. I don't know. There's something about D10s that are just kind of interesting to me.
Let's see. David says, even in historical gaming, the trend is going to larger scale but smaller number of miniatures in a faster game and in bolt action. Yeah, it's just, when miniature gaming was not as common, what you did was you painted for a month or two, all in preparation for a game that's going to last a full day, if not, would carry over a couple of weekends. That's how miniature gaming was before. But with the way that the crowd has become younger, and those of us who are growing up need a more time-convenient game, need to get that experience in a shorter period of time. I think that's where the trend is moving. And overall, I really like that. I think that's I like seeing games like that. I like the Nasir too, says Tori. Well, Tori, if you're interested, my Nasir. Let me know. 200. It is 200, and I'm staying firm on that because there are a few people that have expressed interest in it, and so nobody's yet pulled the trigger. So you're safe for now, but there are a few people, such as Corey, who may break, and he may buy that off me.
Corey just buys everything that he doesn't need to buy.
Yeah, Corey will eventually buy everything if I don't sell it to somebody else. So
yes, this is gonna happen. So it'd be in my best interest if you bought it.
Yeah, and I by the way, David, I don't know if you noticed that I nominated you and Corey for the Chain Attack Donate or Paint Challenge. So that was kind of a for Corey, that was kind of a motivator to get him to continue to paint, because from Saugust I know that Corey, you like to paint with a goal or a deadline in mind.
Right now, my motivation is Kingdom Comes around the corner. I need to get all these models that I don't want to paint finished.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but here's 2 more. So
nice. Yeah, and these little wolf. These aren't wolf guys. They're dog guys. I'm sorry, Adam. And they're fun. See that? I just look at this. It's not the best job on this guy, but look at him. He's fun. That went together pretty quick, pretty fun. Just airbrush, a couple of highlights, a couple of washes, and they're just fun looking pieces here to put together and paint. So that's why it's part of the reason why I'm painting these first, and I'm not charging Adam because they're fun, and I want to help him because Adams is a stand-up guy, and I appreciate all the help that he's given me over the years, and if I can do something for him and his dream of turning this game into a reality, I'll do that.
I am waiting for that to happen. He knows it too.
This is an interesting game. Now, David, I know you play Anima. This game has some mechanics that kind of marry up between, I'll say, Anima and even Malifaux. this game has mechanics that kind of line up between those two games. This is also a D10 based system.
But you
We
want to
talked
roll
about
low.
this
You want to roll low, not high.
Yeah, you want to roll low. We did talk about this game, I don't know, several months ago on this show. I think Corey, you're the one that did most of the talking.
I probably
On
did. I
Parallax.
probably messed it all up too. But hey.
But you know what? I do plan on, like, full disclosure here. I like the game. It's not my favorite game. I do like and appreciate the game. But I want to do some coverage on it because I do think that while, you know, to me, I still really like Relic Knights more than this game. I still think that this game has a place, and I'd be happy to show it off on my channel, and I'd be happy to show you guys what this game is about.
Maybe,
I mean, if anything, one of the big redeeming points for me is the fact that this game is. Oh yeah, for sure. And I've had him on the show before, and when the Kickstarter launches, I'll get him back on again so he can plug it. But yeah, one of the big things for me was, you know, there's stuff that are just kind of meh for me, but painting these miniatures is just super fun. Painting at scale
are wonderful models. Even if I never get to play the game, which I'm hoping is I'm lying to myself, I really hope I get to play that game more. But the models for it are they're wonderful models.
We'll play it.
Great job.
Yeah, so some of these miniatures are sculpted by Savage Forged minis. So Dennis over there at Savage Forged, and I forget the other company, the other sculptor that did the other models. But so I got to hang out with Dennis on Google Plus, and you know, he sculpted the Ogre mini and some of these other minis. I think the Minotaur, and I was just telling him, you know, how much fun I had painting the stuff that he sculpts. And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, you know, originally Adam was hoping for smaller scale miniature, but when he saw them and we started to push these around the board, and especially when you paint them, you just realize how much fun it is to paint at this higher scale. You know, because these models are huge. Like the elephants and the minotaurs are gigantic. I'll show those in a minute while the final bits on these are drying. You can see how dirty my water is. That means we're done. Anyway, yeah. I mean, these things are gigantic. These are called the Hajen. They're like elephant dudes. Oops. This model is like 4 inches tall. Pretty big dude. And the sculpt is nice. I want to make so many Babar jokes about it, and I'm allowed to, but that said, yes. Is it Babar casting Fireball? Yes. But is it cool? Yes. This is cool. And then the base has the little Parallax logo on it. That's also pretty cool. There's another thing to point out about Parallax is that the miniatures come with their base. They come with scenic bases. You don't have to, like, this Minotaur comes with the cobblestone base.
There you go. Here's an example for you.
There you go. There's your completed Minotaur. I was just doing some block painting, airbrush painting on this one.
So Minotaur, and here's a Winterguard from War Machine.
Yeah, they're gigantic.
But
yeah, it's gonna be fun to. I mean, that's fun. Painting something this big is fun. You see all the, like, I'm gonna get to do more highlighting and stuff with the airbrush. I can really dial in the non-metallic looks here. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, well, it is getting kind of late. I'm gonna load YouTube comments one more time here. No new YouTube comments. Any I take it the Kickstarter is over for Wrath of Kings. Yes, the Kickstarter is over, David. If you are that interested, you can hit up eBay. There's people selling selling starters on eBay for not too bad. Not too bad. You don't want to pay more than say $70 for a starter plus bonus though. So if that will help you at all, if you're interested in buying it, but yeah. Any final thoughts or anything, Corey, before we go ahead and end the broadcast here?
I hope that we can talk more about Wrath of Kings in the future when we get to play some more games. But
I want to do a battle report.
We should totally do a battle report. Also,
yeah.
I tried to plug us in on that feed today. I don't know if you saw that. Oh, you commented on the post too, or you liked the post that the comment I did. The guy was asking about does anyone do any battle reports on Relic Knights, and I was like, yeah, you're missing out over here, buddy. Check out Play It Painted. So I got a little plug in there, but obviously we're not getting out as much as I thought we were to the world.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, we're a small operation. We do a lot though. We've got a lot of activity going. Yeah,
but
that's our one thing.
I'll keep motivated with painting if everyone else decides to keep motivated with me.
Yeah, nice, awesome. Oh, you totally forgot to paint in just a little bit of black on the noses here, because they're dogs. There we go. Okay, so yeah, that's gonna do it for this show. Want to thank you guys for watching. And thanks for sticking around, even though I ended the first feed quickly. But yeah, these are the canids for Parallax. So Adam, 2 out of 10 done. I'll get the cats and all those done in the next night or so, and then on to the fun stuff. So there we go. Thanks guys for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.